Hi, this is Hank with Reptile Toolworks. We're showing our Bullseye bucket forge here set up, and this is the lighting instruction video. Okay. When you have the forge properly assembled, okay, you can move the stem in and out of the real style burner. Make sure, now this will come assembled, make sure all these fittings are tight, make sure you don't have any leaks. If you don't know how to check for a leak, make up a little soapy water, okay, and test it. But since the on-off valve is actually on the other end of the regulator, you get gas flow straight through here. This part loads in. You'll also notice we've had a couple people ask some questions. If you're going to be working outside, you can take a little bit of screen wire and make a little shroud, and that will calm down the huffing and puffing that comes from having a little wind blow across the end of the regulator. If you notice I loosen this screw, we have installed the burner until it just enters the interior of the refractory, and then we have adjusted it so it is pointing right straight toward the center of the forge. Okay. Now with these components in place, there's the last adjustment that really has to be making is your in and out on your burner, and once you get it set, it's pretty good, but there's several variables here, so I do want to teach you how to set that. I'm going to take a twist of paper, light it, hold it to this side, and begin increasing the gas. You'll see it move a little bit, and then you'll see it gently light. Okay? Put the piece of paper out. Okay? A lot of times I'll just drop it in the floor, set it on a brick and step on it, and you can save that for lighting again next time. Now you'll notice the forge right now is producing basically a neutral flame. You see it wafting a little bit. The distance and lengths of these is made adjustable so you can find the best mixture and fitting, and actually this is where the forge got its name. With this little burner and this little setup running, when you're running you will have a red spot right in the bottom of the brick, okay, that looks a little bit like a bullseye. Okay? What we do is when the forge has warmed up in just a second, we will adjust to where we get the best bullseye we can, and that shows that we're getting a great mix, okay, and we're getting the best temperature we can. Now, it will take a little longer for the forge to warm up, but you notice I can increase gas flow, okay? Alright, you may hear her huffing just a little bit. They're not necessarily cold nature, but it does take just a minute for the combustion chamber to warm up. Now the other thing that we can begin adjusting is using this thumb screw. We can adjust the jet in and out in relationship to the air intake on the orifice, which will change a lot of things. So we can tune it. Think about it like adjusting an oxy-acetylene torch a little bit. Okay, I'm going to loosen this, and I'm going to move the arm forward. All right. You notice that the flame softens up, okay, and you can't necessarily hear it. Okay. Now watch. I'm going to bring it back out slowly. All right. Now what it's doing is it's picking up more air. Now I can continue coming out until it softens up again. Did you see that little? I hope you saw that little area right there in the middle. So what I'm going to do is come down until it strengthens. Alright, and I can hear it. Now, as the forge warms, okay, it's going to solid up a little bit, okay? They're not necessarily schizophrenic, they just puff just a little bit until as things begin to warm up. Okay, we have allowed the forge to heat up. Now, the one thing I've done and would recommend, start on a lower pressure setting. You can get so much pressure in there trying to crank it up that you actually pull too much air through it. So start at a low pressure setting as you begin and learn a little bit about your forge. Now, she's heating real well right now, but I have her set right now so that I'm showing a large bullseye in the middle of the bottom. That's actually the center portion of the burner, okay? The little dark spot in the bottom is cooler than the area around it. But what this shows me is at this pressure setting, okay, at this extension of the main burner tube into it, we come in and once the forge is warm, we can adjust. Now see, she just pushed out. I came out too far, okay? Came in too far and she softened back up. When I come out and make the adjustment, Okay, what I'm looking to do is get the strongest, most stable mix I can. And what that's going to do is that's going to decrease the size of that bullseye. And it'll take you just a minute to set up, but don't get too fascinated by the bullseye, but just go ahead and keep working. But when you have the smallest, most stable bullseye you can get, you're at your best mix setting for that set of variables in relationship to the pressure you've got coming in. Now the regulator will go from 0 to 30, so you've got tons more pressure than you ever need. And actually at a higher pressure, it's just pulling in more air, and you don't have the right mix. So on this burner assembly, the bullseye actually shows you what the best mix is. Okay, when we're done with our forging, everything's safe, everything's clear. Now this forge, once it comes up to heat, will stay hot for an incredible period of time. Okay, please make sure it is cooled completely back down before you store it or get anything near it or anything like that. But to shut it down, all we do is come into the regulator and back the pressure on the regulator completely off. Okay. Screw it all the way out. Sometimes it'll poop a little bit as it goes out, but often it will just die. You see there's no gas moving or anything else coming out. I would personally disconnect when it's cool, then disconnect the tank so that you know that there's no gas flowing through. If you're using the adapter, okay, make sure you unscrew the bottle from the adapter, because if you unscrew the adapter from out of the main regulator hose, it could spray a little bit there and leak a little bit of gas. So please make sure you break that down accordingly. When everything's cool, you can disassemble it and put it away. Okay. Now, parting shot on a 20-pound bottle. This little forge won't cool it down and freeze it up, but you will notice that as you draw that much propane out of that 1-pound bottle, it's going to get cold. It may get a frost ring around it. It may have a tendency to ice up a little bit, but if you're at a lower pressure setting, normally it will drain it without those problems. If you're worried about it, I have set them in a bucket of warm water or set them in the sun and made sure they were warm. So once he's shut down like this and everything is cool, you can disassemble it, store it back, and you're ready for next time. All right, thanks.